Hi, I'm Laura Johnson, and I'm one of the founding members of the Career Experts Group. We're a consortium of master career practitioners, and our one mission is to guide and support individuals at all stages of their career, from new college graduates to C-suite executives. Each month, we publish an information-packed newsletter that we call Your Career, Your Future. Our March issue is focusing on how to make your job search a lifestyle. And as a part of the job search in today's environment, we really need to see how best we can use social media to support our search, build our brand, build and nurture our network. But a lot of us are overwhelmed with where we start, how do we make social media a habit? So I'm excited today to be talking with Jacqueline Piros of JMP Branding in New York City. Jackie is also a fellow CEG founder and a master personal branding strategist. Jackie helps early career professionals in tech confidently show up and stand out in their dream career. So welcome, Jackie.
Thanks, Laura. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk to you today. I know that you're really active on several of the social media platforms, and you're really a great resource for those of us who are considering how best and most efficiently to use the platforms. So what I'd love to talk with you about today is, what is your social media posting process? How do you remain consistent, and how do you remain on brand?
So it's such a great question. And I just want to emphasize that it is a process and it does take a little time. And I know for myself, I could be better, more consistent, but I think as long as you have your strategy in place and you focus on that first, that sort of helps to eliminate the guesswork later on when you have to post or create or manage a social media account, right? So, my first tip would be, make sure you set your strategy, create your strategy. What is it that you're looking to do with social media? And by that, I mean, are you looking to inspire, motivate people to do something, or just educate? Or maybe it's just to gain more visibility around your brand, right? So these are things that you should identify first, understand what it is that you want social media to do for you. And, so if you look at, developing a communication strategy. So with a lot of times with my clients, after uncovering their brand, we develop a communication strategy. And we go through some of these questions. What is it that you want to do? Or what do you want social media to do for you? And that takes up a lot more of the time. So the upfront work is done here. But again, it helps you to be really efficient with your postings or your commenting or creating. We'll talk about some creative tools in a little bit, but really spending more time here will help for you to be more efficient later on. And so through that, we want to understand, for me, what do I want to achieve when I'm posting? What is it I want people to do or see or hear? And then what are your goals and the outcomes, right? So for example, I might be for 6 months focused on generating more business for a program that I'm going to offer. So maybe for those couple of months, my outcome or my goal is to get people to sign up for my program. So all of my efforts would be around that initiative. And so I'm not going to be thinking of, not that I'm not going to be thinking, but I'm going to streamline my efforts towards that. And that'll be in my strategy. So there's that. And then, understanding, this is the other thing that I think is really important that people tend to miss, because I hear some of my clients say, that they're in the professional, workforce, and they'll say, to establish thought leadership, I work all day, and how am I going to do that? And it seems like a lot of effort. And it's not so much effort if you understand who you're trying to reach. So understanding who your audience is a key element in setting up your strategy, because you don't have to be everywhere. You just have to know where your audience is. So for me, I did a survey to my client base and said, where are you spending more of your time now on social media? Where do you like to spend time? And when I got the results back, it was really interesting that some of them I thought were spending more time on Facebook. They're no longer on Facebook. They are on Instagram, or they're on YouTube, or they want to get more newsletters. That was an interesting tidbit. So really understanding where your audience is and how they would like to receive information is another key thing to understand. And and it's interesting because I recently read a brand study that said a consumer is revealed that a consumer is if they see your message repeated in 3 different channels, they are more apt to believe the truth in that message. So understanding those platforms and being consistent across those platforms is really beneficial to establishing that thought leadership, right? And being visible to your audience. So I thought that was an interesting study and an interesting little tidbit. I didn't realize it was 3 channels. If the same message shows up 3 times, then they're more apt to believe that message, find truth in it.
That is really interesting. Yeah. And I love your points about knowing who your audience is and where your audience is, and then doing that work up front that we don't tend to do. We think the social media is there and we need to get out there and just start using it, but we don't think about what our strategy is going to be up front. That is so
And the
key.
message, what do they care about, right? So that goes into your strategy also. What is it that they need to know? What do they want to know? What are they looking to learn? And so doing some research around, and some of the surveys that I do when I survey my clients or anyone that's subscribed to my newsletter, what's top of mind for you right now, right? And then that always gives me content that I can work with. Ideas around that. Oh, they're interested in, how to gain more visibility while working remotely, right? So those are things that if you can learn up front, it makes the social media process easier.
Yeah, definitely. And so once you've built your strategy, how do you remain consistent? What do you do to be consistent, but also use your time efficiently? I mean, because I know you work really hard, and I know that you're not spending every day on social media. So what is that process like? Or the creative process, actually. Let's talk creativity first and talk efficiency.
So, once you've developed that strategy, right? So who your audience is, what you want to tell them, show them, you then want to brand your marketing materials, whatever it is that you want to create, your thought leadership materials. So for that, I live in Canva, and I find it to be one of the best creative tools to help brand your materials, but reinforce that brand, right? So that if you're going back to that study where, a consumer, wants to see that message 3 times across platforms. So how can you create something that looks the same so that they'll be able to see it really quickly? So Canva, now there is a free version of Canva, but I use the Canva Pro, which is their subscription-based offering, because with that, I don't feel it's a huge expense for what it delivers on. And I think, Laura, you use the paid version also.
I do.
Yeah. And so as you know, you can upload your template, your brand template. So in there, I have my brand fonts, my brand colors, and my fonts, my brand colors. And so I apply that to any of my Instagram post, reels. Even I developed a speaker sheet in there using my brand template. So I chose one of their templates that I really liked, and then I just applied my template, applied my brand template colors and things like that to it. And it was a lot more efficient versus me going in, trying to input my hex colors and all of that. It's already in that tool. But I even create, if I'm going to create program flyers, let's just say, right? So if somebody's interested in my program, I'm going to send them information about it. I create it in Canva. So it's branded. And so if someone, and it's consistent, right? And I do even presentations in there. I can do presentations or any kind of videos that I want to do. I did a speaking event, and I did put snapshots of some of the content from there. And then I uploaded it in Canva and sent it, branded it, and then was able to creatively deploy through them. And also I use, creatively speaking, and a creative tool that I find efficient. I use for my newsletter deployment, I use MailChimp. And MailChimp has, I created a branded template there so that when I do my newsletters, my ongoing newsletters, it's already in there, and then I can schedule it. So through MailChimp. So between Canva and MailChimp, those are the creative tools that I use to streamline the social media process. Because if I had to post every day or every other day, admittedly, I need to be a little bit more consistent with it. But ideally, if I do it every day, I don't want to have to create a post or a LinkedIn post every single time, right? That's when it seems really overwhelming for people. And, you and I have both been there where we're creating certain things and we're trying to be more visible. And when you have to think for the first time on all of these postings, it's overwhelming. So that's why I say set your strategy up first. That's where you're going to spend more time to develop that strategy, but it'll help in the long run because it'll streamline everything later on, like the postings and the creating your materials. So Canva is where I live, and it does a great job in really reinforcing a brand and cutting back time to do that.
Yeah, I love Canva too. And your point about making it consistent across all the platforms so that people start to recognize, they see your colors or they see something in your font style and they know it's you. And, they start to just look at it because they know it's you. And Canva has all of those, like they have the Instagram template, they have the template, Twitter templates, they have Facebook templates, they have all of that already in the right style
sizes.
Thank you.
Yeah, they have it. And so it's easier now than ever before, right? Because not so long ago you had to go in and resize everything, but with Canva it makes it easy because the sizes are already predetermined. So if you want to do an Instagram reel, you can peruse through their many different templates, see one that you think reflects your brand the best, and then apply your colors and your fonts and things like that. So it doesn't take as long anymore.
Right.
Which is great.
Right. Awesome. And then, so once you've created all of that and created your posts, how do you efficiently post your posts, and what other things are you doing? How do you efficiently post your posts?
Yeah. So the schedulers, the social media schedulers, there are so many out there. So I think you have to choose one that you think works best for you. They all have the free versions. They all have, different different things that you can do with the free version. So it just depends on, again, what your goal is, what you want social media to do for you, and then choose one that best works for you. So for me, I've used Hootsuite for quite some time. And honestly, it does what it needs to do for me. And so because I've used it for so long, it's just easier for me because I know the platform, I know the inner workings of it. So I continue to use that. But they do have ones. Buffer is another one that's been around for a long time, which does have a free version. Co-scheduler is another one. Later is another one. So there are a number that have a free version that you can use. So I will go in and schedule my posts, so I don't need to sit at my desk every day and say, oh, I have to send that post out. I'll set it up in Hootsuite on different times that I want them to go out. But I do want to mention, though, it's important to kind of keep in the back of your mind that you have certain posts that are going out, because there could be something in the news or there something in the media that pops up that if you send out a post, it might be a kind of bad timing, right? There might be something that shows up in the news and you send something out in social media that is, not talking about this big issue that just happened. You're sort of, let's say, selling a program, or, so you don't want to damage your brand by being viewed as insensitive, right? So I love the schedulers, the social media schedulers, but I do always in the back of my mind, kind of, keep that, any newsworthy things, I just make sure that, oh, okay, I think I have something going out. Let me just double check, just to be careful with that. But there are so many of those schedules out there. It doesn't have to be so time consuming, because you can just hit, you can go in, post your, schedule your posts or your videos or any, they even do, they could do your newsletter. I just schedule mine in MailChimp because it's just easier.
Mm. That's
So
a great point that I wouldn't have thought of, because you do schedule things and sometimes you do it for a week or two in advance, but you want to make sure there isn't something that has gone on that would make you look like, if you're doing something like lighthearted and that day something horrible happened, that's a great point to just not let it go and not think about it. It's nice not to think about it, but don't
completely abandon, don't abandon current affairs, right? So you just want to make sure that, whatever your strategy is, you leave room for those things that could come up, right? And there seems to be more of it in the world today. So just be aware of it so that you're not damaging your brand reputation. So those are things that I keep in mind with the scheduler. And it's very easy to, if something hits that morning and you want to weigh in on it, do something, on your phone or, whatever, you can clearly put a good message out there, a relevant message. You just want to make sure that you check what was being scheduled to be deployed that day, so that it doesn't seem irrelevant or out of place.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So got to know who your audience is, got to know where your audience is, what is your strategy, what message, or what is the goal that you have, how can you create it efficiently, by using the different tools that are out there? And how can you then schedule it when you have time so that you're not having to think every day, oh no, it's noon, I have to do that post, or it's 2 o'clock, I have to do that post. That you've given us some great tools and some great upfront work, reminders of what we need to do up front before we get started. So
I feel like the heavy lifting is really needs to be done in setting up your strategy. It's really developing that communication strategy. That's the upfront work. That's where you want to spend more of your time and effort, because once that's done, everything else becomes easier. So if you have your communication strategy, you know what your goals are, you know who your audience is, you know the message you want to convey, what you want to be known for, right? Once you have that down, then the creative process and the scheduling process or the deployment process is that much easier, right? So you're not having to spend so much time every day on social media, because you need to be in your business, working and being there for your clients and your audience, whoever that audience is. So spending time up front enables you to have that free time to do what you do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us. And I've really enjoyed, as usual, I enjoy talking to you. So I've enjoyed this opportunity to talk to you again. And then I want to thank everyone else for listening in today. Have a great rest of the day. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was great to talk to you again, Laura. And I hope these tips help our audience to not feel overwhelmed when it comes to social media and the ability to maintain their brand as they move forward. So thanks for the opportunity for me to give my tips.